Tonight we'll be talking about, I want to talk to you folks about, viruses. Talk about making money in the various forms of gaming, including retail, so large format games, as well as making money in casual and social. Извините, I do not speak Russian. I'm terribly sorry. Before we get started, I wanted to mention a couple of things. One, thank you all for coming to this. This is a great turnout, and hopefully what I have to offer is helpful to you. The second thing is this is my first time to Moscow and Russia, and it's been great, and I really appreciate the warm hugs and support, and it's a great town, and I'm very happy to be here. As Julia said, my name is Sean Clark. I work for Big Fish Games, and we'll talk about making money in various forms of gaming. And more specifically, we'll dive into a comparison of the different business models. If I get this slide to work. Hold on. There we go. So who am I? I've been in the games industry now for over 20 years. Initially, I worked at LucasArts Entertainment Company, building large format games, mostly PC adventure games, but some console as well. I worked at Electronic Arts for 5 years. Part of the business unit there was Pogo. So casual games. I was responsible for web-based games, subscription model, ad-based revenue, microtransactions, as well as casual downloadable. Towards the end of my stay at Pogo, I actually also launched a social game studio. And when I left Pogo, I went to Playdom. Playdom is an emerging startup company in the social space. Maybe you've heard of them. They are, I believe now, the 4th biggest game company on Facebook, and #1 actually on MySpace. I was their first executive producer. I was responsible for their text-based RPG games, Monsters, Story Life, Monsters 2, and some of the other ones. Very early, it was a great job, but I missed casual, so then I left and came to Big Fish, where I'm back to casual now. I've been a developer for most of those 20 years. Been a programmer, a writer, designer, project director, producer, studio producer. I've managed artists, animators, audio people, programmers, everybody through the beginning of the project all the way to final localization. Actually, I wanted to ask, before we get too much further, how many people in this room are actually developers? Hands up. I am. All right, great. And how many of you are building sort of large format games, like a retail product? You? Okay. And how about casual? More, okay, and social? A bunch of you. How many of you are doing both casual and social? Yeah, okay, all right. It's like an AA meeting, you know. It's okay. So, just to summarize my background a little bit, just so you understand where I'm coming from and what my history is, that I've basically built games in all of these different sort of areas and categories in different business models, like a lot of you have. And I've seen the world sort of change from the beginning days when there was only retail to where there's digital distribution, and now there's microtransactions and other ways of sort of monetizing games. So that's me. Some of my background at LucasArts, these are some of the games I was responsible for. These were games that were sold at retail. Pogo. These were,
Слышно сзади, ребята? Вам там слышно сзади?
Okay. I can select closer too. At Pogo, again, I was responsible for games that were free, that were generating money through advertising. We had a subscription model. I supplied games for that. I was also responsible for the downloadable business, and again, started a social game studio while I was there. Playdom, these were some of the games that I was responsible for as the executive producer there for the RPG studio. That was the largest share of revenue for the company was coming from these games, and so it was the biggest studio there. And now, of course, I'm at Big Fish Games, where I'm extremely excited to be. So who is Big Fish Games? Well, in case you don't know, we are the leading distributor of casual games worldwide. We are also an emerging distribution platform for social and iPhone and iPad. Basically the way we operate is that we partner with developers, like a lot of people in this room, all over the world. And in fact, we have many partners here in Eastern Europe. And what we value and what works for us is generating or creating excellent relationships with our partners and with our developers so that we all reach mutual success. So who are you? So luckily, a lot of you raised your hands when I was asking who are the developers in this room, because that's who I'm talking to. This is what this is all about. I'm looking to talk to independent developers, so I'm not talking about Electronic Arts or THQ, but people like you in this room who are trying to figure out the best way to use your resources to build great games and to also remain in business. So developers who are independent, passionate, want to build a great game, but also kind of want to stay in business. You know, I don't know if that's important to you, but it was always important to me. So that's who this is aimed at. Now, one thing that's common across all of the different models, all three business models, what I'm calling core, sort of retail, casual, and social, is the steps of the business cycle. Step one is after you sort of decided what it is that you're going to make. I've got an idea for a game. You need to commit resources to that project. That's time and money and people. There's an investment that you make, and you commit that investment to the product. Then there's step two, you actually build the product. And we could have, and there are many talks that go on and on about the best way to manage a project from beginning to end, and all these Scrum and Agile and all sorts of different ways of doing that. We're not going to get into that here. This is just one step along the way to making money. Second step is distribution. Once you build a game, you actually have to get it off of your server or off your computer and get it out to where people can actually access it in a store, online, or wherever. Step after that is to market it. You have to let people know that the game's actually there and try to drive people to try it or to buy it. At this point, you kind of cross your fingers, hope that the game actually sells, and let's assume that it does. Then you start generating revenue. You take that revenue and then you do it all over again. You build another game. And hopefully, this is a cycle that is sustainable and you can continue to make great games. So, if that's our development cycle, what are our goals? What are the things that we can do to create more success? What are the things that we can do to generate? What are the things that we can leverage to increase our odds of success? And I would say step one is, or one of the major functions that we can do is control, is reducing the development costs. Obviously, the more a game costs, the more you have to sell, the more money you have to make in order to break even and then make money. So try to keep development costs low. Try to get wide distribution. You want a big audience to have access to your game. You want to minimize your art marketing spend. And that doesn't mean necessarily that spending $0 is a good thing. But you want efficient spend, right? You want to earn your money back that you invest in your marketing campaign. And you want to earn your money back as soon as possible. Step one was to commit a bunch of resources, time and money into building your game. You invest that money, and time goes by, and the game finally releases, and then you get your money back, hopefully. The longer that is, then the longer your investment, and the longer the risk cycle is for your game.